I had done a couple of games during the 1967 season, but I had worked on uh, like the pregame show, and I was doing broadcasts of local games. And when the Super Bowl came around, uh, CBS had the rights to it, so I became part of the CBS broadcast team. As I should remember, I guess, but Ray Scott was the lead announcer at the Green Bay Packers. He had broadcast the Green Bay Packers games for many years. I knew him quite well. I had worked with him on telecasts, so he and I were very comfortable together. And so when Bill McPhail made all the assignments, or Jack Dolph, I forget, all the names run together, he put me in on the coverage to do the color and also to do the on-field coverage, which I did. And it was, nobody at that point could get to Vince Lombardi, because he was not only a tough guy to deal with, that he was terribly nervous before a game, and so it was very difficult. One of my major accomplishments, and one of the reasons I think they assigned me to do it, was that he was a good friend of mine, and having played for him with the Giants before he went to Green Bay, and we had a good personal relationship. And so he did agree for that game that I could do just before the kickoff interview, which was unheard of. And he said he would do it, so it was going to be very special. And the thing that I know that was very special about that game, it was a dual cast, NBC also, because it was sort of a decision by the commissioner not to give it all. This was all post-merger of the NFL and the AFL, and they awarded the first Super Bowl to both CBS and NBC. And so it was really a game within a game, and who was going to get the best ratings, and so we were looking for all kinds of things. And I suggested, and when Bill McPhail said we should do an interview with Lombardi, I said, why don't we do it right before the game? Because I know he won't do it, for NBC. And so that became a game within a game, and I wound up doing the interview. And Paul Chrisman was their color guy, the NBC. And when Vince and I had already prearranged him, he would come back out onto the field, and I would meet him about the 30-yard line as they came running out in the LA Coliseum. And I'd get a quick word from him, and then we'd go up, I'd throw it back to the booth, and we'd kick it off. So some funny things happened. First of all, they're babbling up in the booth, and it was Ray Scott, and I think Jack Whitaker was in on that telecast too. We used every tool we had. And they're babbling away up in the booth, and all of a sudden here come the Packers back out onto the field, and so I can hear them in my program interrupt, my IFB, and I know they're going to throw it down to me in a moment. So Vince Lombardi comes trotting out with the team. He looks over and sees me, and he goes like this, and I went like that. And so I really literally ran onto the field with the microphone and said, Vince, and we were on the air yet, Vince, you got to do this. I said, we've been promoting it. I can't. And I said, Vince, and I got him literally by the neck. And so all of a sudden, Ray's going, now we'll get down to the field. Frank Gifford with head coach Vince Lombardi. So he comes down to the field, and I got a statement from him, and I look out of the corner of my eye. Here comes Paul Chrisman. He's from NBC. He's racing across the field, sticking his mic in. And it was one of those, like I said, it was a game within a game. We wound up with an enormous rating, though, much better than they did. So that we won our little war within the war, if you will. And, of course, we were all great friends. And I think Kurt Gowdy was calling the game for NBC, and Jack Chrisman was doing the color. We had Ray Scott, and I was doing the color, and I think Summerall was working on the game too. It was a zoo, as most Super Bowls are, and even though they become the largest, I guess, single audience producing element of television.
Did it have the cachet that it did? That first one, did you know it was going to be as big?
No, I don't think anyone ever thought the Super Bowl would ever amount to what it turned out to amount to. It's my understanding that's where they spent weeks trying to come up for a name with it, like the Clash of the Titans or something, and finally they just gave up. Somebody said, well, it's a Super Bowl, and what kind of name can we get? And some I think it might have been Tex Schramm the Dallas Cowboys, who was a dear friend of Pete Rozelle's, and they finally said, we'll call this first one the Super Bowl, and then we'll figure it out later. You know, and I don't think and the first Super Bowl, I think there were like 30,000 people in the LA Coliseum, which holds 100. It was not a big deal. And when you think of it today, I mean, it's a national holiday and it's beamed around the world, and I guess the largest single, like I said, has the largest single audience there is.